Alright, welcome everybody. I am Blaze here. This video is going to be a update to the previous Bard class review that I made in the Kunark era. Most of that stuff still stands, but I'd like to make a few updates as to what's changed in the Velious era. So let me go over to the next screen as a general overview. I'm going to be talking about the new spells, some of the gear that I've acquired, some of the flowing thought items you might want to look out for, disciplines, plans for the future, and some of the illusions. So let's get into the first one. Let's talk about some of the new spells. I'll bring them up real quick. So Velious has a couple big spells that are great that come out. So one of the early ones you can get, I don't have it, don't need it. There's a level 30s range HP mana song that you get. That's one of the first ones you can get. Velious adds a couple different mana songs for lower level bards, so they're more viable. They help out in groups a lot more at those lower levels. Because the first HP mana song you get prior is a level 55, which is pretty long. So you get one in the 30s now, and I think 20 is for Cassandra's or something. I don't know. I might be confused, but you do get a new one at lower levels. But let's talk about when you're raiding. What are the spells that you're going to want in the raiding era? So one of the first ones, I think this is a critical, this is a must. This is called Occlusion of Sound, and it works exactly the same as it does on P99. So Occlusion of Sound is a 12-second debuff that's unresistible, but you have to have a percussion instrument equipped or the epic in order to play it. And it's a debuff of magic, fire, and cold, depending on how much modifier you have, given the instrument or the epic, on any mob. This is absolutely critical on raids. It must always be on. I only played this one time on P99. I just played at the beginning of a fight, and I thought that was good enough. That's not actually. So you need to continuously play this song throughout the fight. So on live, that's what I do. I'm often the bard who's continuously playing Occlusion of Sound on a mob so that casters can land more of their stuff, so that you can land a slow, you can land cripples to help out these fights, these big raid fights do better. So Occlusion of Sound is huge. And the fact it's unresistible like Tash, it's major, absolutely major. The next spell, that's sort of unique to Velious. This is a V2 haste, Composition of Bravage. So this will stack with V1 and V0, so Warn Haste and regular Spell Haste. And it's 10%, so it will get you, say if you're at 190 on the haste, it'll get you up to that 200% cap. It won't get you over, but it'll get you up to 200% if there's nothing else that can get you closer to that. I very rarely use this, but I've had instances where I was in full melee groups of monks and rangers where damage shields weren't warranted, where some other spells weren't necessarily warranted, so I just put on some extra haste and help out. But in most instances, the buffs from it are kind of useless. V3 haste would be worth playing, but V2, because it only goes up to 200 and most people are already there with just my primary proc, nah. And then the last spell, this is a big one. So this is a big difference between live and P99. So this drops off of Vulak only right now, but there's a couple mobs that will drop it in Luklin. And watch. It's an AoE, PB AoE, HP mana song. So when I play this, it'll get everybody. Watch. Bam! So it overwrites Cantana of Replenishment that you get level 55, so they won't stack. This is actually better. And it doesn't matter if they're in the same group, it does not matter if they're in the same raid. If they're even outside of your group, it will land on everybody, regardless. So it's incredible. I see this in a lot of power leveling groups, but it's also one of the critical things that makes raids more effective. You only need one bard. Well, ideally two. You want one with the melees and one with the casters, but you really only need one bard in this for HP mana song for everybody. So it's really, really nice. Very rare drop. I was very fortunate to be the third one in our guild to get it. So let's continue on to the next portion. So let's talk about resist gear and the new gear that I've gotten. So some of the new gear that I've gotten, a lot of the gear that I've picked up in Velious raids, it's been high on resist, because part of your job as a bard is to play resist on raids, just to stay alive. 40% haste belt. This is what I replaced my rune bolstered belt with. You want to be big on resist. I got also a Lotus All Shell Shield for resist when I need, and Enduring Breath, because there's some zones where you're going to want Warn Enduring Breath, so it can't be dispelled. These are great for specific fights, but not always needed. I usually keep my Bracers of Benevolence up, but it's nice to have Velian Blue Diamond bracelets, which become available to craft in Velious. And what else? Other gear. I think these are the two big ones. Well, there's one more I'd like to show. Alright, so this is the one that I commonly use in my primary, Siren Song Dagger of the Sea. So my epic is a 55% haste, and Song of the Deep Seas is a proccable 60% haste. So with this epic and my 40% haste belt, I can actually get up to cap of 200%, which is really sweet. And both the epic and Siren Song Dagger of the Seas, they are group wide, so they affect everybody. And typically at the start of a fight, I prefer to have Avatar, which is a really cool looking. Here, I'll swap over too so people can see. So that's what the Siren Song Dagger looks like. And the Avatar weapon, man, that's so cool looking. The Avatar weapon, you get this from Sleeper's Tomb. And what it does, it's really big. It boosts your attack by 100, it boosts strength by 100, it boosts dexterity by 100, and agility by 100 for 6 minutes. So it's really helpful. It significantly made our times killing Avatar of War, killing Lady Nev. It made all these really big fights go a lot faster. And it's something I really wish I could get on my Ranger, especially the two-hand version. It's crazy good. And then the next piece is Drums of the Beast. This is the best drum in the game with the 16 mod. And it has an instant Enduring Breath. So this is actually, I used it yesterday, killing and Kedge Keep. Instantly gave everybody Enduring Breath. And you don't need fish scales to actually use the clicky. So it's really nice. It looks like this. Looks like a little tambourine sort of thing. So let's go see what's the next part. Yep, resist, NTOV, gear, Avatar, Song of the Deep Sea, drums. Okay. Now let's talk about some Flowing Thought items, some general things. So, come Velious, there's finally some Flowing Thought items that will now drop. Now, I don't have any. I was doing part of the Cold Ancient quest. The last one gives you 1 Flowing Thought, so mind you, Bards there's only a few things which can modify your mana regen. Sitting down just brings it up to 2. You can't use Clarity. So Flowing Thought and AAs are really some of the only ways you can get extra mana regen on a Bard. So the Cold Angel will bring it up to 2. There's also some items that you can get from the Fear revamp from Khazak Thul that will boost mana regen. I was really trying to get, I haven't seen this drop yet, but it's a range item that has some Flowing Thought on it with a great resist area, so I was looking at trying to get that. Still none have dropped. We got a face, but from Khazak, but the only problem with it is it was minus 25 on Charisma, and I didn't want to take that hit because I need that for charms. But ideally, I was trying to get up to Flowing Thought at least a 4, because that would, at least combat mana regen up to 4, because that would get my charm reuse times down to about a minute. So it costs 60 mana per charm, and right now it takes about 4 minutes to recover enough mana. But if I got up to 4 mana regen, it would take 1 minute, which is really not that bad. Because right now I took a couple sacrifices. I was at max EXP, took a couple sacrifices, so I'm now down so low on mana. I only have enough mana for maybe 3 charms. So when you die, it's kind of brutal in that regard. Now let's look at the next portion. Let's talk about the illusions that I've acquired. I didn't get the Nereid Shawl, which makes you water illusion, or at least yet, not super focused on it, but I've got Barbarian Illusion. I'll show them all. So I'm gonna pause the video in between the transitions. So that's Barbarian Illusion. This is Skeleton from Amulet of Necropotence. And this is Dwarf Illusion from the Besmirched Mask of Conception. So the Barbarian Mask that comes from Avatar of War, Besmirched Mask of Conception comes from a Warder in Sleeper's Tomb. Amulet of Necropotence comes from Minis and Plane of Hate. Desiccated Halfling Mask comes from Overseer, Underboss Camp in Chardock. Guys, the Deceiver, this was the pre-nerf that came from Sebulus, not Sebulus, but from Lower Guck. I really like this mask because the Ultra Vision buff. Ixarhide Mask from Trakanon's Teeth, killing Harbinger. People are checking me out now. Loot of the Howler, which is from Velkators, from the Kelkar Ice Ball down in Lower Dogs. And it has a buff of haste, I think, Enduring Breath. This is not like on P99. Grants Enduring Breath, haste, increases your strength. The only thing about it is, okay, so it's 40% haste. It gets overwritten by Avatar, so the buff never stays. I really don't like how they did they updated the Werewolf Illusion. It looks dumb. Erudite from Howling Stones, the Skeletal Procurator at one of the exits. They need to fix the Velious helm. It's not working right with the no helm feature. And last, this was sold in the marketplace, but they were recommending everybody get it. It's Bixie Soldier, because what it does, I never use the illusion, but it gives you 6 hours, no matter if you die, of levitation. It's really nice. So that's what that buff is all the time. So some of these illusions come with innate buffs, which is really nice. But I really just wear this, and then the next best mask stat-wise would probably be the Besmirched Mask of Conception. Now, let's check the next part. We're going to talk about disciplines. So, in terms of disciplines, let me see, character combat abilities. So, bards have a couple. Oh, that just turned it off. Bards have a couple different combat abilities. Death Dance has saved me several times. Death Dance is a discipline that makes you invulnerable for, well, not invulnerable, but in frontal attacks for you for 18 seconds won't land. So I've been on ramp several times, and this has saved my bacon. So it helps out tremendously. And I use resistance sometimes just to boost general resist in certain fights when Pure Tone's down, but Pure Tone is the big one. Pure Tone's a critical one for raids. So what Pure Tone does is it acts as if you're equipping the best instrument. So what's nice about it is you can equip both your melee instruments at that point. You don't have to swap instruments. And what Pure Tone does, so the best instruments and everything. So singing, brass, percussion, string, all that. I've seen crazy mods, the amount of hit point regeneration when I play Lycia's. I have seen damage shields go up ridiculously high, and resists. I'm able to get up to nearly 400 resist. I'm not even wearing my resist gear, using the targeted damage shield songs, like Sama Cooling. I'm able to get fire resist up to 400 with just this, with the singing skill mod. So it's insane. And I'm able to get the max resist if I actually go MR. I'm able to get to 500. I don't have my resist gear on right now, but you know, I should put it on. Why not? Let's see what I can get up to. And that's it. I've got group resist magic on, so it's not totally correct, but I'm way over 120 unbuffed on all the major stuff. Yeah. Way over 120. And I can easily get the haste cap of resist cap of 500 here. So pure tone, I typically use that when I'm in a tank group and they need resists to get them as maxed as high as I possibly can. Or I will use it if I'm trying to get a damage shield twist as high as I possibly can. Those are really the two instances where I use that particular thing. And let's talk about, oh, there's one other thing I wanted to show. I got this from Dane, really cheap. It's not instant, it's really close, near instant. But what it does is it gives you a little bit of an HP buff, some armor class, and it adds 10 MR, which is really nice. But it doesn't stack with focus, whatever that shaman buff is. I really like focus because it adds extra dex. It's short. So now let's talk about AA plans. In terms of AAs, most of the really big ones that bards get don't seem to come until Planes of Power, like Fading Memories, but there's been some nerfs to it, but whatever, we'll make do. But there's a couple stuff that bards get in Luklin that boost the power of most of their abilities. Let's see. They have some AA abilities that give them... Oh, Following Thought. I'm definitely going to be doing that. There's some ones that will boost the range of how far their songs will go. And... yeah, just the power of particular. I'm trying to find... Here's Singing Mastery, Reaching Notes, Jam Fest, Instrument Mastery. So they boost the strength of your modifications when you do songs. So that's really cool. So I'm looking at doing those when we get to Era. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.